Secretary Thompson, if Russia is in compliance, do you believe it is in the best interest of the U.S. to extend New START?
Senator, thanks for that question. I can tell you that under New START at present, both countries are in compliance. We continue to have success with the treaty. I will also tell you that we're undergoing the interagency process on next steps with New START, and we're also engaging with our partners and allies. I just got back.
I'm sorry for all of that. I didn't ask you that. I asked you a simple question. If Russia is in compliance, is it in the best interest of the United States to extend New START? Yes or no?
Too soon to tell, Senator. We're in an interagency process. I would tell you that the treaty as it stands is postured for today. Is the treaty as it stands postured for the safety and security of the American people for the next 5 to 10 years? That I can't answer today.
Well, what would it need?
Pardon, Senator?
What would it need to be postured for the next 5 or 10 years?
That's the discussions that we're having right now,
Well,
Senator.
can you give me an insight as to what it is?
I'm not going to go through our interagency process in public, Senator, but I can tell you that it's a rigorous process. We're working with the intelligence agencies.
I don't know about an interagency process. I mean, you could give insights as to the benchmarks that would be needed, and that's not an interagency process. I'm asking you, as a representative of the Department of State here, what are the elements of that? And you can't give it to me. Have you had conversation with Russian officials about extending the treaty?
We have had discussions with our Russian counterparts on the treaty.
Let me ask you, if New START expires, could Russia target the United States with hundreds or perhaps even thousands of additional nuclear warheads?
That's a good question for Russia, Senator.
No, it's a good question for you. You know, this disdain that the State Department has when they come here, I don't appreciate it. I'm asking for legitimate questions with answers so that I can make policy decisions. I'm not asking Russia about our national defense. I'm asking you.
Yes, Senator, as our staff was up here...
Is it possible that, in fact, if there was no New START, that, in fact, Russia could aim hundreds or thousands of new weapons? Is that possible?
That's a hypothetical, Senator, and I'm not going to answer that.
Oh, my God.
That's a hypothetical. That's not a fair question.
It's not a hypothetical. It's what would happen if we cannot verify what they're doing. If Russia expanded its strategic nuclear forces in a post-New START environment, what would be the implications for U.S. nuclear strategy and force posture?
Again, Senator, if we're looking to the future here, it depends where the security situation is in the world, what our partners and allies are doing, what our R&D efforts through the Department of Defense are doing. That's all being taken into consideration now as we look through next steps. It's always the safety and security of the American people. It's always about the readiness of our military forces. It's always the security of our partners and allies.
I'm asking you to help me understand. Of course it's the safety and security of the American people. We are in common ground on all of that. That goes without saying. The question is, how does one achieve that at the end of the day? Let me ask you, Deputy Secretary Trachtenberg. My understanding is that China has a total nuclear arsenal of approximately 300 weapons, and the United States and Russia retain at least 6,000 nuclear weapons in their arsenal, 20 times the size of China's arsenal. Is that about right?
There have been a number of unclassified estimates, Senator, which clearly show that the Chinese nuclear arsenal is significantly less than those of either the United States or Russia.
Yeah. So, and my understanding is that the Department of Defense in a recent report stated that China has between 50 to 75 strategic delivery systems capable of targeting the United States. Under the New START treaty, the U.S. and Russia are limited to 700 deployed and a total of 800 deployed and non-deployed strategic nuclear systems. Is that about right?
That sounds about right, Senator. The difficulty we have with respect to China's arsenal is that China, among the major nuclear powers, is, I would say, the least transparent in terms of the size of its nuclear arsenal.
Well, let me ask you then, if those are about right, given this current imbalance, can you explain to me under what circumstances China would be willing to sign up to a multilateral arms control regime?
Oh, I think it's very much in our national security interest to engage with China.
I didn't ask you that. I'm asking you, what would compel China, who's so disproportionately underrepresented in terms of its nuclear arsenal, to agree to something in which we are 20 times larger than them?
Senator, I can't speak to what would compel China because I can't get into the mind of the Chinese leadership.
Well, we have to be thinking, if we're going to negotiate with them, what would induce them, right?
No, well, I can tell you, I do believe that China is, of course, modernizing and expanding its nuclear arsenal and its nuclear capabilities, and does pose a threat to the United States, and therefore, under those conditions, it seems to me entirely legitimate and proper for us to seek to engage China in this endeavor.